and welcome to Young Valley Leaders, WDIY's newest monthly show featuring the upcoming movers and shakers in your backyard, making it happen for themselves and our community. I'm your host, Louis Holzman, and today I'm here with Kyle Edwards.
What's up, man?
Thanks
for having
me. Yeah, of course. A Valley native, Kyle, you're pushing yourself in our community really forward through a lot of different creative spaces, an entrepreneur, small business, placemaker, really active in the community, the kids, businesses. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about it, but just a little bit of an intro here. Artist at heart, the founder and CEO of A True L.O.V.E Story, LLC, Inkwell, LLC, and you run the market by ATLS. In the middle of all this and surrounding it all, really dedicated to, again, working in these public spaces and working with the kids, fostering their creative community to really build some of these joint projects. So thank you for joining us and looking forward to digging into some of that.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
So with that in mind, I mean, can you just start to tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe where did you come from in, childhood, but then how did that push forward into A True L.O.V.E Story and kind of what you're doing right now?
Sure. I'll give you the short version, but I was always that kid in the back of the class that was distracted himself with drawing. That was my thing. I got decent grades. I passed. I never got held behind, anything like that, but drawing was my first love, if you will. Born and raised in Allentown, hopped around between a bunch of schools. We'll get into some of that maybe during the course of the conversation. But I was always the kid that was doodling. Fast forward, I went through a traumatic loss, the loss of my sister in 2012. Went through all the stages of grief, kind of got stuck in depression, and I started drawing again, then started painting, and I ran out of canvases. I started painting on shirts. That eventually turned into ATLS, A True L.O.V.E Story brand. That was actually the umbrella of how it all started in terms of A True L.O.V.E Story was the brand. I didn't set out to do that, but I think God set out to do it through me. So I used it as a catalyst to go ahead and work with art and motivate the youth to understand that there's more than one way to get this thing done in terms of what you want to do in life. I wish I would have heard some of these things that I try to tell the kids now at a younger age. I think I would have skipped a lot of the stuff that kind of caused hurdles along the way. But it started from great tragedy, but again, I have everything that I have now because of that experience, and I'm grateful to my sister for her time on Earth, and where she's at now, she's waiting for me.
Sure, and obviously big condolences to you and your family for the loss. I mean, that's incredibly tragic, and some of the hurdles in life are what enable you or individuals to propel into new things and challenges and open new ideas and opportunities, and it sounds like that's kind of what really helped you take 100%. That leap.
Yeah. I think if you go through traumatic experiences, if you go through loss, if you go through pain and anguish, what a waste it would be to just get the pain out of it and not the privilege, not the opportunity to use that as a platform to motivate you and just stay zeroed in on whatever your task is, whatever your goal is. And I'm a believer that I'm on assignment, so I don't get discouraged. I just keep moving along. But a lot of that I owe to my sister because when she was on her way out of this plane, she never shed a tear. She was the strongest person I knew, and she's with me at all times now, and that's why I do as much as I do.
I'm sure it keeps you moving in a lot of different ways.
Motivated all the time.
I mean, there's a lot of energy, a lot of power that I'm feeling from you just talking about this, and as you think about A True L.O.V.E Story and the brand that you initially created, like, is there a deeper meaning behind A True L.O.V.E Story, or what maybe is that at the time, and how has that evolved to where it is now, years down the line, a little bit more established, evolved? Can you talk to that a little?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm still learning as I go, like anyone is, but I think I have a good foundation. A True L.O.V.E Story, love is an acronym within the story, which means looking on to victory every day.
Wow. Okay.
So the first shirt I made was I Am Debt. My sister's name was Bernadette. Debt, D-E-T-T-E, was another acronym, but it was written backwards. So when I look in the mirror, I could see it. It was for me. And DEBT stood for determined every day to tackle everything. So again, I used that as motivation back when that happened, and I used it as a reason to do better, not an excuse to do worse. And I just kept trekking along. And like I said, it still evolves. I didn't set out to do apparel. it came after me. I didn't set out to do murals. It came after me. I didn't set out to, start creating these events with these, recognizable names. But, what I've learned through being an artist, if I learned anything, I learned that rather than trying to be the one creating the art, I want to be the brush. A brush doesn't care if it's used upside down, backwards. I use the blunt end of a brush before to get a job done.
Sure.
As long as it's being used to create a work of art, that's all that matters. I want to be the brush. I'm just being used. I'm letting God work through me, and I just follow his lead.
Wow, man. 3 minutes in and I'm getting goosebumps. So we're talking about the evolution of the business and of the brand and kind of even of you finding yourself within all of that. We have something called Inkwell now. We have something called The Market,
Yep.
all associated with A True L.O.V.E story. How, maybe what are those two things? Sure. And then, how do they all come together?
Yeah, great question. Inkwell, I'd have to think about it, man, because, again, sometimes I lose track and I forget what prompted me to want to do the thing in the first place. But I'll say this. I hosted my first event with a buddy of mine in 2019. We came out of a church service, and the pastor just got done saying about using all your weapons. He said a whole bunch of stuff, but I picked up on key things that I know God's trying to tell me. And what I picked up on was use all your weapons. So we walk outside, and at the time it was Miller Symphony Hall is where the church was being held. They now are at St. Paul's. We come outside, and right across the street, it says Rent Me. There's a sign that says Rent Me in one of the strata buildings downtown Allentown. And I turned to my boy, I said, dude, we're going to host an event right there. We started talking about it. I called him the next day, how much, what I need to do. I figured out the insurance. Mind you, I had no idea about the insurance and all that kind of stuff, but if you take that first step, the next step is always illuminated. So I took that first step, called someone from City Center. Long story short, we hosted our first event. But that was a byproduct of being impatient on getting an opportunity. I got tired of asking people, and God told me to stop seeking permission. Just do it. Or at least try to do it. So hosted the event, and we got a beer sponsor, we had a DJ, we had a drummer, we had 5-foot canvas paintings, portraits of Nipsey Hussle, Mac Miller, Amy Winehouse, Prince, and David Bowie. David Bowie was key for me because my sister Bernadette, that was one of our favorite artists, so that was key.
What a lineup.
Oh, dude. It was powerful. Prince is my favorite artist. So I always felt like we were kindred spirits. He's mixed, I'm mixed. He had, checkered past. I had a bit of a checkered past. So I always felt like we were kindred spirits. So it meant a lot to me to make sure we get Prince up there. But long story short, incredible event. Just things that happened. It seemed orchestrated. The drummer and the DJ, they broke out in song together, and we didn't even know they could do it. He plugged something in, and he heard the drums over top of what he was doing. So he mixed that in. So it just all this natural stuff was going on. I'm like, this is crazy. It was packed. COVID happened, of course, put a pin in that. But yeah, I started hosting events, and then I hosted my wife's grand opening event at her new location, the Promenade Shops. They liked what they saw. They asked me who was hosting the event. I said, well, I am, I guess. It wasn't even part of my business at that time. And they were like, well, we should work on something together. Here comes the market. That's how that was birthed.
Okay.
I did a lot of the legwork for that, but it was great to see and facilitate a platform for local businesses to sell their products and merchandise. I fell in love with that, so it brought me back to a true love story. That's part of it. We're all living a true love story. We may not talk about it, but your ups and downs, that's part of your story. My ups and downs, the pitfalls, the shortcomings, the hurdles, that's all part of my true love story because love of self is the goal, right?
Absolutely.
So, that facilitating that for people, that illuminated something to me. So we're two years deep doing that now.
And just to elaborate on that a little bit, like a couple seasons in on the market.
Correct.
You show up, someone comes to the market, what do they see?
Yeah, good question. So the first year we did that 2 years ago, we did a holiday market at the Promenade Shop. So we rented it out. It was a 4,200 square foot space. We had a temporary lease, and I filled it up. When I first started that market, I started with 5, maybe 7 vendors, ended with 23.
Nice.
So sometimes, when God talks to you, you have the vision in your mind. It's already done. It's already complete. For others, they have to see it. So I knew that going into it. I knew that some people weren't really going to see it.
Takes time to build.
That's it.
Yeah.
But 5, 7 vendors I started with, but it's a 6-week event. By the end of that, I had 23 vendors because they walk in and they see it. So I have live music every week. I'm a big fan of good beer, so I had a beer vendor. I'm a big fan of good food, so I had tacos. Everything being made on the spot, poured on the spot. So again, live music helped with that and all that. But again, it's just you walk in and there's something to it. I try to hit all the scents and all the senses rather at my event. So you smell something. I got a diffuser going. You don't know what it is. It doesn't matter, but you feel something. You hear the music. I give you something tangible. At the first event in 2019, I gave all the women roses or flowers. They may not have been roses, but they were flowers. Roses were too expensive, I think. But yeah, so again, I try to hit all the senses. And yeah, you come in, you're walking into something special. When you leave, it's memorable.
Really curating that experience.
Yes, it's important to me. I want people, if we made it through COVID, I think we all deserve a little break. We all deserve to have a good time and enjoy some things. So that was the first one. Did it again this past year, which was great. And then I also hosted a summer market right here in Bethlehem at the Main Street Commons during Music Fest, Overlap Music Fest.
Okay.
So yeah, obviously I'm taking advantage of the crowd during Music Fest.
Sure.
But same thing, brewery. We had cornhole in there. It was a smaller space, but we made it work. So yeah, I curate these marketplaces, and I connect the people and bring them in, but they're doing the work. I just sit back and let them do their thing. And it's been awesome. I met some great people, and now I have a network of 35, 40 small businesses that are anxious to do the next thing with me. So that's awesome. Yeah, man, just trusting the process and figuring out as I go along, and it's been awesome.
Okay, and so that's tied in. Would you call it almost like a sub brand to A True L.O.V.E story? It's kind of part of that. And
yeah, A True L.O.V.E story is the umbrella. Then Inkwell LLC is under that umbrella. And the market by ATLS under that umbrella as well.
So, just knowing you a little bit, I know Inkwell is kind of the newest piece to the puzzle here. Yep. What is that?
Sure.
I mean, I've experienced an event or two there, and they've been a lot of fun. So,
tell me about your experience.
Just incredibly warm welcome. You mentioned the smells, like something I associate with going into Inkwell was like,
the smell.
It was like, smells good. But just, a great
awesome.
Crowd of people that are, all excited to be there for whatever the main act or main stage event that is there, but also a community that's really collaborating with each other during the entirety of the event.
Yeah.
That helps kind of curate everyone's experience.
Yeah.
So that's how I experienced it, at least.
That's you're hired. That's perfect. That's exactly what I hope to get across, is just a space for contributors to come together, network, and do. There's a lot of folks, especially in the artistic community, that they do a lot of talking, man, and I'm not, saying any names or anything like that, but it gets to a point where I got tired of talking. So I just want to be around doers and people that just want to go after it and try it.
Yep.
If you fail, nobody cares. No one cares. So just try it. Let's see if it works. We'll double down on what works, get rid of what doesn't. But that's what Inkwell is. Inkwell is just this organic space that, it's kind of corny, but you can't write your story without ink. So Inkwell, that's the source, right? Mm-hmm. So I want Inkwell to be the source, whether that's facilitating, a comedy event, live music event, or I have plans to do free events where, we set up how it's longer than it is wider. I can see in there almost like a closet space where we have clothes all around the perimeter, and I allow people that are down on their luck, homeless folks that do a lot of outreach stuff, bring them in. They can grab whatever they want. I'm going to do things like that. Wow. So those things are coming, and like I said, just one of those things. I'm trusting the process, and eventually there's going to be a membership base where you can join and you can record a podcast. You can downstairs be space for one-on-one personal training. First floor will be for workshops. Obviously, there's a small stage in there, so you can perform, try out a new album, spoken word. But the biggest thing I want to get across with Inkwell is the camaraderie, and that it's a prerequisite to becoming a member of Inkwell that you support your fellow creative 100%. And I'm going to stick to that and, really, apply that and make sure folks are, showing up, for your art show, showing up for a concert, showing up, and we should support one another and promote one another. And it's cool to see it happening organically. Like you said, the events we have, people naturally gravitate towards one another. They're passing cards around. That's exactly what I want. Like, we got everything we need within the Valley. We have everything we need. We just need reminders from time to time of who we are, and stop asking for the permission. Stop seeking. Whoever's for me is going to be for me. They're going to show up. If no one shows up, then I don't need them. So that's the goal. I think that should be everyone's goal. Just keep moving forward, and Inkwell is going to be that catalyst, I hope, to help others write their story. That's what I want to be.
And just to give a little bit of a plug there, Inkwell, unlike the market, is more of a permanent space located at 1125 West Hamilton Street in Allentown.
You're hired,
right?
correct.
So,
yep.
I just, the couple times I've been there, I heard multiple people come up to you after the show, whether they were performers themselves or attendees, and being like, man, this space is exactly what the community needs. It's right, near the downtown revival, if you will, resurgence of what's happening, but also in an existing neighborhood with a lot of people that are just part of the city and part of the fabric.
When you walk down, like, all the new development going on is awesome. I'm all for it. I plan to partner with some of these organizations downtown. But when you leave that and walk into the 1000, 1100 block, it's a different vibe. It just feels more open to me, feels more welcoming to me. It feels more like a neighborhood. So it's just the perfect setting for what Inkwell eventually is going to be with some of these live events. We hope to spill outside and partner with the city to host block parties and things of that nature. I've been doing a lot of the work behind the scenes to get those relationships going, and it's just a matter of time.
I believe that so much here. I know you're a doer, and I look forward to seeing that come to life. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we come right back. We're going to take a quick break here where you have Kyle Edwards here on Young Valley Leaders, and we'll jump in to the next segment soon.
Awesome.
All right, and we're back here with Kyle Edwards at Young Valley Leaders. I'm Louis Holzman, your host here, and we're talking about the community. We're talking about art. We're talking about creative expression. We're talking about being a doer and making it happen in the community and making it happen for a variety of different businesses and entrepreneurial events. Kind of taking this back a little bit. You mentioned earlier in the episode about having a bit of a checkered past, and we hear as growing up, get good grades, go to college, get a good job, XYZ, and success.
Yep.
But there's so many kids and people that's not necessarily the path, and that's totally okay. It sounds like that wasn't necessarily the path for you.
Yeah.
What is the message for kids and other people out there that have a similar path that maybe you've taken, and you're thriving, right? And so there's others around you that you've in a similar way as well. So what's some of that message or advice that you could bring forward there?
Yeah, trying to think of a cool way to say it, but essentially just don't allow the opinion of others to dictate the opinion of yourself. What someone thinks of me is none of my business. My job and my goal every day is to be proud of myself, a little more proud of myself. I want to like me. And in my experience, how I go about bringing that feeling of pride, self-pride, and self-dignity is challenging myself, making things very difficult, intentionally, and doing those tough tasks. So, yeah, in this era of social media, it can be tough, especially for the youth. So I think it's important. That's why I work with them as much as I do, because they need a little bit of help. They got it. Everyone, every generation goes through weird things, right? So we can't lose sight of that. But it's definitely challenging. So, just to remind the kids that it doesn't matter what other people think of you. What you think of yourself is everything. In terms of my checkered past, I say checkered, but
I don't know any details.
No, I get it. But it's important that I have no shame in mentioning because I need folks, especially the youth, to understand that it's okay if you make quote-unquote mistakes. I was expelled twice. I've gotten into some trouble. I've made some blunders. I've made some errors. But at the end of the day, again, had I known that there was a different route, that I could monetize art, that I could, create something from my mind and contribute and get compensated for that, I think I would have avoided a lot of the pitfalls that I did. But again, I'm grateful for all of those things because I'm able to now tell other kids that you can avoid that stuff. Let's, do a little bit better.
And you're directly telling them in a variety of different ways. I mean, I know there's a mural with kids at Washington recently.
Working on that, right?
There
just
was
left from there today.
A collaboration with the Iron Pigs with some kids. Can you talk about some of the projects that you're actively doing and how that's intertwined?
I work with I worked with the fourth graders at Central Elementary. We designed or are designing panels to be installed at the Vinci Science Center, the new one downtown.
Oh, cool.
So that's coming. They're going to be laser cut. I went to met with them about 2 hours each, 4 different classes. It was 140 kids, some odd kids. It was awesome.
Wow.
They had a lot of ideas, man.
I'm sure.
Oh man, a lot of
I'm
ideas.
sure.
And it was great. They were all
How do you
great
collect
ideas.
them all?
I'd jot them all down, so I would have them call out, tell me their ideas. I put them on the board, and I would take pictures of it, and then I would gather the good ones and keep the not so good ones for later. But just write it down and listen to them, let them talk, and give them the floor because kids have great ideas, man. They have a lot of good ideas. They just don't know how to get it out. And some of the best ideas that I eventually put into the design were from the kids. It wasn't me, it was them. I worked on that. That's still coming. Soon they'll be cutting those things up for the new Da Vinci Science Center. I work with Washington Elementary. Literally just came from there. Designed a mural with 3rd through 5th graders. Met with them a handful of times and just felt this energy from them about the importance of color and the use of color. And then this idea came to mind, and they actually helped me to install a bit of the mural. And now I'm going back pretty much every day to clean it up a little bit and finish. And then tomorrow we'll have like this reveal for that. Moser Elementary, I'm doing a summer program for them starting in June. I enjoy working with kids a lot because I think kids are better than adults. They have great ideas. They don't second guess themselves. They just need a little bit of encouragement sometimes. But it's a lot of fun, and the conversations I have with them, man, they just need somebody to talk to. Working with the William Allen girls basketball team, where I designed a new layout and new look for their locker room. So I'm redoing the entire locker room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's neat.
So they actually took some lockers out they didn't want. So I'm in there painting that place. It's crazy. But sometimes I stand in the middle of something I'm doing. I'm like, how did I get here? But anyway, having conversations with them is on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? Because I work with 3rd through 5th graders and now high school kids. But even talking to these high school kids, people have these preconceived notions about them. Then when you talk to them, they just need somebody to talk to. They just don't get asked the questions. I created a questionnaire that was very introspective. They took their time to fill that thing out. They were honest about their feelings towards everything, towards life, towards the mural. And again, that motivated me to create this design. So I love working with kids. I'm hooked. It's all ages, doesn't matter to me. I have some more work in the pipeline that some folks are working on for me behind the scenes, and I'm just excited, man. Anywhere they need me, I'll go.
And so clearly your fingerprints are all over the valley, hundreds, if not thousands of kids, definitely thousands of people that you've made an impact on or have contributed to some of these works over the years. But your work is also spread on a regional and national and even international level.
Yeah.
I know some collaboration with the Philadelphia Eagles, some collaboration with Amazon and some of the Kelsey features that were put out last year. Going down to Nicaragua and being able to do murals and build literal communities there.
Yeah.
How did you even land some of those jobs? And can you elaborate on some of that?
The Nicaraguan one, I partnered with a local nonprofit that was like a branch of a local church I go to. I actually painted a mural at that church, and of course they love that work. And they asked me to work with a buddy of mine to create a piece for Nicaragua, which we actually went down and helped to build a playground at a school with kids that have disabilities. So we focused on that, and then we had no idea what we were going to paint until we went down there because I knew it would come together like it always does. So, while we were there was something that was on the playground that reminded me of a sail. It was actually like these tarps that would cover and add some shade. I'm like, that'd be cool to take that shape and incorporate it in the mural. So that's what we did. And it was like, a pixelated sort of like, triangle kind of look, but very colorful, very vibrant. And it pops because everything around is kind of muted.
Okay.
So it was awesome experience. Eagles, a buddy of mine that I partner up with for large scale stuff. He's worked with them in the past, and he and I joined forces to do large scale stuff. They got wind of the cool large scale stuff we were doing, so they gave us a call. So we went down and we've installed 4, and I think I can say it. I can say whatever I want. We're installing another one next week, so this will be our 5th mural for the Eagles.
Congratulations!
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Amazon. They got word of the Eagles mural, and during the Kelsey premiere, I got a call from an Amazon rep, and they were like, would you like to paint a mural for the Amazon premiere in Philly for Kelsey? I said, yeah, Yeah, certainly.
You an Eagles fan?
Die hard.
Okay.
Die hard.
So
So
that
helps.
that hits home in a
helps,
lot of
dude.
ways.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's still crazy to think that I've worked with the Eagles and had some exclusive opportunities with them. It's been nuts. But yeah, I met Jason Kelsey, shook his hand. He's like a big bear, awesome guy. Met Sirianni, which was dope. Took a picture with him. But yeah, I installed the mural where they had the Kelsey premiere, the documentary premiere. I had the chance. I brought my family, which was awesome. I was able to bring my family in. We got exclusive access. We had these wristbands. We get treated like VIP, so that was cool.
I mean, you are VIP.
Yeah, appreciate it. And we sat right down in front, and Jason Kelsey's right there. We're watching the premiere, and it was nuts. Crazy experience. Stuff like that. It's like, well, again, how did I get here?
How did you get here?
So, just trust in the process, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah, that's really, really incredible, and kind of makes me think about, you mentioned some of the other projects that you have in the pipeline that people are helping work on behind the scenes, but like, how do you keep it all together? You had between a couple different subsidiaries within your businesses, your own individual projects, partnership projects, let alone like growing a family and other personal life types of, like, how do you keep it in track?
Yeah, I think just keeping the main thing, whatever that is in front of me at the moment. So if I'm with my family, I'm with my family. If I'm working on a mural, I'm focused on just getting the mural done. Now, of course, you got to leave wiggle room and room for the unexpected. But, there's, whether it's things going on in my family that I have to handle after installing a mural, or, next day I have to work on a project with kids, whatever it is. When I get there, I'm there. I arrive and I'm present and I focus on that task. And then I, have to pivot and, give it all my time and attention that I can and then focus on the next thing. But just one thing at a time, man. I just, like I said, I hit the gym in the morning. For me, going to the gym is important. Mm-hmm. Being in relatively decent shape helps me to have a little more energy and keep moving. Yeah. And it's helped me in countless ways when I'm installing a mural 30 feet in the air. I'm able to grab on and feel strong. I'm secure. Those things, that's important to me.
You gotta imagine it's a good amount of stamina too, over hours of being out there, arms in different positions, and ladders, and
climbing up and down ladders and all. I mean, it's exhausting at times. So yeah, being in relatively good shape helps. It's the first thing I do every day, and then having those routines, making sure my kids are good, making sure my wife is fed, and I make her breakfast every morning and coffee and these little things.
Wow, that's incredible.
Because they're priority number one, and then everything else just falls in line.
Cool, man. So just talk about what you do for fun a little bit, or maybe best kept secrets, or anything in the Valley that you think listeners would really enjoy hearing about. Maybe is kind of new or under the covers that they might not know about. Any hidden gems or best kept secrets that you like?
My favorite, I'll give you places I eat, because my wife and I like to eat.
Okay.
So
everyone likes to eat.
Yeah.
Gotta
eat. The Shelby, I love that spot. Donnie, he's a good friend of mine, and I love going there. It's just a cool vibe. PA House in Hellertown.
Okay.
They're good, dude. They're great pizzas, and I feel like I'm back in Italy when I talk to the owners. I try to speak to them in Italian. I speak very little, right? But I try to talk to them in Italian, when I'm there, and enjoying their food, because I feel like I'm back in Italy. And Italy's my favorite place that I've ever visited. Nice. Little stuff like that. We like to eat, I try to live an active lifestyle and get out and support the arts. And I've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes now, but now I'm starting to really get plugged in with different communities and organizations, and having conversations, discussions, and getting stuff done. So I'm all over the place, man. I'm all over the place. But we love food, so that's a couple gems in my book. Okay,
well, let's see if anyone has to try those out. I've not been to PA House before. I definitely have to get there.
You got to get an Aperol Spritz. We'll go.
Okay, I'll take you up on that. So just kind of thinking about this session here with you, it's been very inspirational, very motivational. You bring the energy, you're a big doer. That comes through in everything that you're talking about. What does it mean to you to be a young leader here in the Valley and helping to push forward?
Well, you flatter me. I don't know that I would call myself a leader as much as I would be proud to say that, like you said, I'm a doer. I like to just do things and try it. I try to keep people around me that are why not people. If I tell you I have an idea and you say why, I stay away from you like the plague. I want why not people. Like, yeah, let's just try it. Yeah. I'm out there, and Nike, they almost got it right when they said just do it. It's close, but I think it's more important to just try to do it. Just try it and see if you like it. And if you only get good at something by doing it. So trying new things and putting yourself out there, I think, is the key. Yeah.
How can people find you? Your businesses, any of the works that you've done? Give some plugs.
Instagram, I guess, is the best way to do it. The highlight reel, AKA. But IG is A True L.O.V.E story .LLC. I also have Inkwell .LLC. The Market by ATLS, if I remember that correctly. Hit me up on Instagram, check out some of my stuff, come to a show, come talk to me. And if you have an idea to host an event or do something that contributes to the greater good, I'm all for it. And if we could do that at Inkwell, let's do it.
Yeah, clearly very approachable. So definitely encourage people to do that and take them up on that. Any advice, final comments, words of strength, encouragement, or for our upcoming leaders that might be listening in?
To kind of segue off of just trying something, just keep in mind, man, not to make it grim, but keep in mind that, life at its longest is very short. We're here for a very short period of time if you really sit back and think about it.
True.
Just try some stuff. Just try it. And again, stay away from people. Keep a lot of things to yourself. If you have a good idea, keep it to yourself. Because one look, one comment could be discouraging, or even worse, it gives you this false sense of that you've finished something, that you did it, this false sense that you actually accomplished something. Because talking about it, your mind doesn't know if you're talking, you're doing it. So it's important to keep those things to yourself. But yeah, just try stuff and stay around people that want to help you try to do cool things. And I think that's it.
That makes total sense. I mean, I've definitely been in a place where you release out ideas into the world to the wrong people. They'll be quick to stamp them down because they don't have that perceived belief for themselves, and it comes into you.
It's not their vision.
Right.
It's yours.
Right.
So why are you trying to explain something that they can't see?
Right.
Don't even do it. Don't waste your breath. Don't waste your time.
You go do it, then they'll see it.
They'll see it. Like, this is what you meant.
Yeah.
So do it. Just try it. And if you need help, I'm here to help.
For sure. Well, hey, thank you, brother, for coming on the show here.
Appreciate it.
That about does it here for episode 3 of Young Valley Leaders here in the books. Big thanks to Kyle Edwards for joining us today and bringing valuable insights into the creative, artistic, entrepreneurial world here in the Lehigh Valley and beyond. It's been a pleasure having you, and we welcome any questions, comments, by any listeners that may tune in over time. You can find this show live monthly on the second Monday, 6:30 p.m., and then streaming indefinitely on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and NPR and WDIY.org. So looking forward to any feedback that may be there. Lastly here, a big shout out to some people making this program possible. Lauren Matthews with an awesome logo, bringing the Young Valley Leaders brand to life. Matt Cajun live and in studio here with us, making this radio and voice interview come to life on screen through video. And of course, James, Seamus, and all the good folks here at WDIY for giving us the time and the space to bring the show alive and supporting efforts to disseminate across the website, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. Again, I'm Louis Holzman, your host of Young Valley Leaders on WDIY 88.1, Lehigh Valley Public Radio. Thanks for tuning in, and until next month.